There's one question that I ask before opening Grasshopper. And honestly, it saves me a lot of confusion later. The question is, what relationship am I trying to create? Let me minimize myself and let's go to my Google Doc. So the problem is that a lot of people open Grasshopper and start placing components immediately, usually too early. They focus on the tools before they are clear about the logic. That usually makes the script harder to understand and harder to remember. And the other problem is that even simple definitions can feel confusing when the relationship is not clear from the start. That's why I always ask this question: what relationship am I trying to create? What that means? It means what is the input? What input? What is changing it? What is the output? What should control? What should control what? What should stay fixed? What should stay or what should kind of dynamic? What should vary? What I do instead, before I open Grasshopper, I try to describe the relationship in plain language. That's why I highly recommend you to write down your recipe first. And what I do instead, again, I don't ask which component comes first. I always ask what would I be creating in between. And I always ask what should affect what. Once the relationship is clear, the definition becomes easier to build. So there's a small exercise that I'll be creating with you, and I'll be following the same recipe that we have here. Like pasting this in, and maybe I can put this question mark here. So I'll draw a line. Let's say I have a line, create a baseline, import this baseline, set one curve. It's going to be relatively short, divide it into points, divide it into 15 points. And then place a point in Rhino. Let's place a point in Rhino, import that point as well. Set one point. This point can go anywhere. And then use it as a direction to create vectors. So I go to vector 2 points. So from this point to this point. And what else I can do, what it says, create vectors and draw lines towards the point. So I'll grab an STL line, direction, and the length. So if I go, I don't know, 200, we can put it here. And you started to see that I am creating lines that is playing or that is moving with the motion of my point. And I can pull them down, pull them down. You see, when we have too close to one another, we started to see how, like, in a sense, they are attracted, since the perpendicularity plays a big role here. Obviously, you can play around with it. You can move it up and down, or you can make it even three-dimensional, like this, as you see. So the point here is that what is the relationship I am trying to create? I want to create a set of points that sends some lines to a point which is defined in Rhino. By the way, if you want to get access to these exercise files, please follow the link in the description and join my free school community. These files will be there for you. So after I set up the relationship that I have in mind, it is a lot easier to execute that in Grasshopper. The real relationship is the panel position changes based on distance. Distance controls height automatically. Attractor point, or the point in this case, influences the system, and the panel geometry, line geometries responding to that relationship. This is helpful because the logic becomes clearer before the software opens, before you open Grasshopper. It becomes easier to choose the right steps before jumping into the components. The definition becomes easier to debug later, the results feel less random, which is extremely important, and Grasshopper becomes less overwhelming. If you are serious learning about Grasshopper, book a call with me with the link in description so that we can sit down and chat to craft your way to become a computational designer. So the main idea is do not start with components, start with the relationships. Once you know what should control what, the script gets much more or much easier to build. Thanks for watching this, and I'll see you in the next video.